y'all, my name's Kennedy Brady. That's Kennedy like the president and Brady like the bunch, but since you're here, you can call me Ken just like the Barbie. And this is KenRaeB. Everybody's got their favorite movies. For me, at the very tip top of that list, Smokey and the Bandit. Okay, it does not get better than Burt Reynolds with that gorgeous mustache, a cowboy hat, and a Trans Am. Not to mention Jerry Reed's incredible soundtrack on that movie. Next on the list is probably When Harry Met Sally. I just think it's a really cute love story, and I love the way that it's filmed. And oh my gosh, the ending will make me cry every time. Now, third and fourth on this list of my top favorite movies has to be none other than Shrek and Shrek 2. We don't talk about Shrek 3 and Shrek 4. Personally, I believe especially Shrek 4 should have never been made. But that's besides the point. Shrek and Shrek 2, arguably some of the best animated movies that the world has ever seen. Okay? And what I love about Shrek is that ogres have layers, onions have layers, and so does the Bible. Because actually, the Bible and Shrek have a little bit in common, okay? They may or may not share a talking donkey. And that is what we're going to talk about on this week's episode of KenRaeB. Let's take it all the way back to the Old Testament. You know, the times of Moses. You might be familiar with him. He's the guy that parted the Red Sea. So the tribes of Israel are still wandering around the wilderness, being led by Moses for about 40 years, and their time in the wilderness is drawing to a close. As Israel's wandering, they come into contact with countless kings and armies and enemies. Hot off the press is a report that Israel, backed up by Yahweh, has not only defeated the kingdom of the Canaanites, but the kingdom of the Amorites and the kingdom of Bashan as well. So they're 3 for 3. After all of these defeats, the Israelites decide that they're going to set up camp in Moab. Now, upon hearing the news of the tribe's back-to-back victories, obviously the king of Moab is a little bit nervous. The Israelites have grown to be a rather large family at this point, and the king of Moab looks out into his backyards and sees, I kid you not, approximately 601,730 men. Once we start counting women and children, give or take, we're looking at about 2 million people. The king of Moab decides that it's time to get some friends involved, and he runs over to a neighboring country, the country of Midian, and talks to their elders. The elders of Midian give the king of Moab some rough news. They look at him and they're like, buddy, you are literally going to get chewed up and spit out. This horde of people is going to lick up everything around us, just like the ox and the cattle lick the grass off the field. So the king of Moab, his name is Balak, and if I'm being honest with you, the picture that I get in my head of Balak is like the lead singer of a really bad rock band. You know, like he's put on eyeliner because he thinks it looks cool, but in like all reality, he just looks like a sweaty raccoon. Like that is the type of guy that I picture when I think of Balak. So anyway, King Balak is understandably freaked out. To him, it looks like his kingdom is going to be next on the Israelites' chopping block. But then the most astute, brilliant, profound idea hits him. Let's just fight fire with fire, okay? Why don't we use the Israelites' God against them? Duh. King Balak sends out messengers to find this guy named Balaam, who happens to be a prophet of God. Now, when I picture Balaam, there's no real way to say this politely. I just picture like a slime ball, like this sleazy guy who's like literally has greasy fingers. I don't know why that's the picture in my head, but like, I picture him as a total sleazeball. So anyway, Balak sends messengers out to find Balaam because his bright idea is that he's actually going to hire Balaam to curse the Israelites. And in his brain, that ensures the safety of his kingdom since it's outnumbered by the Israelites. Balak specifically sends a message to Balaam like, listen, dude, I know when you bless people, they're blessed, and when you curse people, they're cursed. So come work for me. And of course, King Balak, being a king and all, sends the message with a hefty sum of money. So when the messengers from Moab and Midian arrive at Balaam's doorstep, Balaam is ever the host, and he invites the guys to spend the night. Balaam obviously hears King Balak's request, and when he goes to bed that night, he decides to have a little bedtime chat with the Lord. God is all, Balaam, buddy, who's in your living room right now? Like, who's spending the night here? And Balaam tells him about the messengers and about, well, their message. So God sits Balaam down and is like, all right, buddy, let me explain this to you. The math is not really math in here. So you actually can't curse a people that I've already blessed. Do you see how that like doesn't work out? Are we on the same page here? So Balaam sends all the messengers back to Balak, informing them that, yeah, God's just not down with this. Sorry. But Balak, yeah, King Balak is a persistent dude. He just keeps asking and keeps asking and keeps asking Balaam to come curse the Israelites. The king sends more and more prestigious people and messengers and officials in order to persuade Balaam to come to his side. The messengers are all, Balak said to let nothing hinder you, okay? He has got your back. Nothing bad's going to happen to you. He'll do you such a great honor, and he will literally do whatever you say in order to get the job done. Excuse me, the God of the universe said no. If in case you've never heard that before, it's spelled N-O. It means not gonna happen. Yet again, Balaam just must be living out his MTV dreams because he's all, welcome to my crib. Come on and spend the night again, guys. So he looks at the messengers and he's like, all right, guys, you sit here and chill. I'll go have a chat with God. But just so you know, you could literally offer me like houses busting at the seams with gold and silver and riches. And, it still would not make me disobey the Lord my God. Like, y'all could never. There's literally nothing that you could offer me. This time, though, God goes to Balaam at their bedtime chat and is like, all right, Balaam, why don't you go ahead and go? No, go with Balaam. Just don't do anything without my say-so. Saddle up, pack up, get on the road. Even though God has given Balaam the permission to go, God himself is not happy about this. Now, you might be experiencing a little bit of whiplash here. Like, what do you mean? Like, he's the one that told him to go, and now you're telling me he's angry about it? While it may seem like God is just being a little bit moody here, there's a reason behind it. Here's the question. Who brought up money? God didn't say, well, Balaam, do what I tell you to do, and also tell them that you can't be bought. It was Balaam who slipped the idea of an increased sum of money on the table. While it may look like Balaam is just putting his foot down and being kind of harsh with these guys, what he's actually doing is saying, guys, if you want me to curse these people, why don't you turn those coins into some castles, okay? Come on. So Balaam saddles up his donkey and rides out with the messengers, only for his stubborn donkey to literally stop in the middle of the road. The reason that this donkey won't move, God had sent an angel with a sword to stand in the middle of the road blocking the path. And only Balaam's donkey can see it. This poor little donkey's just trying to walk on the path and sees this angel and is just like, yeah, not today. So Balaam strikes the donkey in an attempt to get her to move. The donkey does end up continuing forward, and they move a little bit down the road, only for them to be on a walled path through the vineyards. So open air, open sky, but think of it almost like you're in a stone tunnel. The donkey looks up, and wouldn't you know it, there's an angel with a sword yet again. But the donkey has nowhere to turn. She's trying to move, and she ends up crushing Balaam's foot against the wall. Balaam at this point, kind of upset and in a little bit of pain, and he keeps urging the donkey to go forward. But this donkey is not going to cross this angel again. So what does she do? She can't go left. She can't go right. She can't really move backwards, so she just lays down. Now, Balaam has a bit of a temper tantrum, and he starts to beat this donkey with his staff. Okay, PETA would not be happy, and God wasn't too happy either. God blesses this beaten donkey so that it can tell Balaam exactly what's on its mind. And I mean that literally. God gives this donkey the capability of speech. So the donkey's all like, dude, bro, what did I do to you? What did I do to you? I've literally given you rides all of my life. I've done everything that you've needed me to, and you're going to sit here and beat me with a stick? Are you kidding me? Do you not see the literal angel with the sword in the middle of the road? Do you have eyes? Can you open them? This is ridiculous. This is what I call a donkey on the edge. So Balaam is so fed up at this point that he just looks at the donkey, and I don't even know if he's that surprised that it can talk, but whatever. He looks at the donkey and he's like, you know what? If I had a sword, I would kill you right now. Straight up. You are actually making me look like an idiot. The Lord then reveals the angel to Balaam, and Balaam's like, Oh, that's what you were talking about. And he immediately falls to the ground in worship, as he should. The angel tells Balaam that he's come to stop Balaam's journey because, let's be for real, he shouldn't be making it at all. The angel snaps back at Balaam and is like, seriously, dude? You're a prophet of God and your donkey can see me and you can't? Who's the idiot here? If she had not turned away from me those times, I literally would have killed you myself, and I would have let her live. Balaam tells the angel that he's really sorry and that he's just going to go home. But the angel tells him, no, actually, I'm going to allow you to continue on your journey. Keep going. But one condition, pal. Balaam, you can't say anything without the Lord say so. Keep that right up here in the front of your noggin. So fast forward, and Balaam finally completes his trip, and he's face to face with King Balak. Balak starts up his order to Balaam like, hi, so yes, I would like one curse on all the people of Israel and a large Diet Coke. Please and thank you. Balaam flat out tells Balak, listen, it has been a long trip. I can only say what God wants me to say. Are we clear? That's how this is going to work. Balak takes Balaam up to the side of like a really tall mountain, and they can see a portion of the Israelites who are residing in Moab's backyard. Balaam tells Balak to build 7 altars, and together they sacrifice a bull and a ram on each one. Balaam asks God what he would like him to say, and he receives a word from the Lord, and he prophesies over Israel, blessing them. I'm actually just going to read you the first blessing straight from the book. So, from Aram, Balak has brought me, the king of Moab from the eastern mountains. Come curse Jacob for me, and come denounce Israel. How can I curse whom God had not cursed? How can I denounce whom the Lord has not denounced? For from the top of the crags I see him, from the hills I behold him. Behold, a people dwelling alone and not counting itself among the nations. Who can count the dust of Jacob or number the 4th part of Israel? Let me die the death of the upright and let my end be like his. Of course, Balak is furious. This is not what he's paid for, and he wants a repeat. Balak drags Balaam up to another part of the mountain, overlooking yet another portion of this huge group of people. Another 7 altars are built, and 7 bulls and 7 rams are sacrificed. Balaam yet again asks God, what do you want me to say here? And the Lord gives Balaam another blessing for Israel. And this one is even greater than the first one. I'm pretty sure at this point, Balak is ready to leave a horrible Yelp review for Balaam. Like 0 out of 5 stars. I pay this guy to curse my enemies. And what does he do? He blesses them. Okay, I want my money back. This is not what I paid for. Regardless, King Balak is still desperate and he's still fearful. So he's like, surely the 3rd time is going to be the charm. Balak takes Balaam to yet another, even higher part of the mountain, where Balaam builds another 7 altars and sacrifices another 7 bulls and another 7 rams. Like, at this point, between construction materials and livestock, this thing's getting pretty expensive. Balak has actually taken Balaam so high in the mountains that when Balaam looks down, he can see all of Israel camped out, tribe by tribe. This time, Balaam doesn't have to ask God what to say. It's finally clicked with him. God is not going to be cursing these people. He's finally caught the drift that only blessings are in order. So the Spirit of God takes over, and Balaam utters a final 3rd prophecy over Israel. I'll read this one as well. The message of Balaam, son of Beor, the words of the man who can see clearly, who can hear what God is saying. With staring eyes, I see in a trance a vision from the Almighty God. The tents of Israel are beautiful, like long rows of palms or gardens beside a river, like aloes planted by the Lord or cedars beside the water. They will have abundant rainfall and plant their seed in well-watered fields. Their king shall be greater than Agag, and his rule shall be extended far and wide. God brought them out of Egypt. He fights for them like a wild ox. They devour their enemies, crush their bones, smash their arrows. This nation is a mighty lion. When it is sleeping, no one dares wake it. Whoever blesses Israel will be blessed, and whoever curses Israel will be cursed. Finally, King Balak has had enough. Fist clenched, he screams, go home, and don't expect payment for your services, okay? I gave you 3 chances, bucko, and I told you that I would honor you, but you know what? The Lord has withheld you from the honor that you would get from me. At this point, Balaam utters a few final prophecies, not only pronouncing destruction over the Amalekites and the Kenites, but pointing to a king, quote, like a bright star that will arise out of the nation of Israel. We're talking about Jesus right there. And with that, Balaam goes home. I told you at the beginning that this story, like an ogre and like an onion, has some layers. So let's peel a few back. These are just like 3 of my favorite takeaways from this story. Number 1, sometimes we ask God for things even when we already know the answer. Balaam knew from the start that God was only going to pronounce blessings over Israel. Yet, not only did he let the messenger spend the night twice, but he followed Balak up the mountain 3 times and sacrificed 42 animals to oblige the king. And even though Balaam kind of went down a squirrely little path following the king in the first place, God did not let that derail his divine plans. So the question I ask myself is, are there things that I keep praying about and I keep asking God about when in reality, God's kind of already told me what to do? And the answer to that is yes. Actually, a lot of yeses. Actually, I'm probably still going to keep praying about it and keep talking to God about it. And he's still going to give me the same answer, but I'm human. Layer number 2. It's really important that you treat, quote, the lowest of you with kindness. In a modern context, donkeys are kind of seen as the butt of the joke. You know, the constant hee-hawing, the buck teeth. I mean, have you watched the Shrek movies? Yet, in Balaam's circumstance, this, quote, lowly creature is the one and only thing keeping him from death via angel. I mean, think about it. The donkey saw the angel before the literal prophet of God. If that doesn't scream, for the least among you is the one that is great, I don't really know what does. So then that makes me sit back and ask, well, are there any situations in my life where I find myself, lashing out at someone or something without really seeing the full picture, without seeing the angel in the path? And again, the answer is yes. Probably a lot of yeses. And my third little takeaway, just because you believe in the power of God doesn't necessarily mean that you submit to it. King Balak knew exactly what to do and who to go to. He knew because Balaam was a prophet of Yahweh, his blessings and his curses would stick. But just because Balak understood that God had power didn't mean that he submitted to it. Actually, he did the exact opposite and tried to control it. And you see how well that worked out for him. So then that makes me ask myself, are there times when you fully believe in God and his power, and yet you still don't really submit to it? And guys, you're never going to believe what the answer is. At least for me. Oh yeah, it's a big fat yes. Yeah. So those are just a few of my takeaways, but what I really want to hear is yours. So drop me a line, leave me a comment, or send me a DM. I want to hear your thoughts and your takeaways. And as you go through the week, maybe just consider how they could apply to you in your life, and maybe take a night this week and watch the Shrek movies again, except for Shrek 4, because we pretend that one doesn't exist. That one, freaky, okay? It's creepy. Just watch 1, 2, and 3, and then watch 2 again, because Shrek 2 is the best of the whole franchise. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of KenRaeB. You can find me on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, and Substack at KenRaeB. What do you want to hear about next? Why don't you let me know in the comments below? I'll see you guys next time.